My name's Bob Simpson. We've been farming here since 1892 and I'm the fourth generation of the Simpson family to farm at Castlemains. Castlemains is a predominantly arable farm. It's based in the coastal plain of East Lothian near North Berwick. We grow winter wheat, spring barley, winter barley, oilseed rape, winter rye, and we have grown potatoes and peas in recent years. A couple of years ago I decided to stop growing potatoes, which is a major decision for our family, but we do have somebody else who grows potatoes and sprouts on our farm. We have some cattle. Traditionally we had about 100 cattle to fatten. We're now down to about 20, which survive on arable byproducts such as light barley, hay and straw. We do have some sheep running about and we have some horses that graze the permanent grass. Recent years we've put up 4 wind turbines, so we generate all our own electricity and we export to the grid. A new enterprise for us is a winter rye, which we were growing for an anaerobic digester plant. It remains to be seen what use we make of it this year, but it's one of these new energy sources. We're a climate change focused farm for southeast Scotland, and we've been doing a series of experiments and open days where we discuss what we should do: cover crops, renewable energy, efficient use of fertilisers and manures. At present we get poultry manure from our neighbours who have 100,000 broiler laying hens in a shed. So we've tried to make best use of organic fertilisers. We've looked at soil structure and making best use of all the fertility available to us. Today we've got the College of Agriculture, SAC, to talk about soil organic matter, and we'll be looking at the use of fertilisers and organic fertilisers in a way of improving our soil organic matter.
Hi, my name is Bill Crooks. I'm a soil and water consultant at SAC, and today I've been speaking at the Castlemains Climate Change Focus Farm on the subject of soil organics, trying to understand what it is and how to best manage it, and both to improve it and to make it work for your business. The main points I was making today is about trying to look at your soil organic content, understand it is. I always talk about 3 different pools of organic matter. You've got your fast turnover, which is the materials you apply, like slurries and manures and composts. They decompose quickly, and your crop residues, they move quickly from the soil surface, they get eaten up by the soil biology, and they end up as crop nutrients. There's a second pool, which is the biology of your soil itself. It's a very important pool, and it's the main reason why you want to apply organics regularly, so that your soil has something to eat, so that it can decompose and function properly. And then you have a third pool, which is long-term, very stable organic content, which we really have a hard time managing, but luckily in Scotland it's quite stable. When you start to understand organics in this way, you can start to appreciate what you're applying, and most importantly, to start taking account of its nutrient value, because most of the organics you apply do end up as a crop nutrient. And in order to make sure that it sounds good for your business, to justify it economically, you should be taking account of the nutrient content of applied organic materials, as well as crop residues that are left behind in the field. And that way you can better justify doing it on an annual basis. There's one point about organic applications: we'd like to have little and often, so on a regular basis, rather than just maybe once in the rotation. We'd like to see organics coming in as many times as possible, including keeping crop residues in the field. One important aspect is, particularly if you're paying to bring organics in like hen pen and compost, is to make sure you get an analysis so that you know its nutrient value. And that way you can start to effectively incorporate it into your nutrient budgeting and take account of its financial value as a fertilizer rather than just a soil improver. Because most of the time these organics are going to end up being nutrients for your crop, so you may as well take account of their financial value. It can be a little tricky to do. We have the SRUC bulky organic fertilizer technical note, which has some good baseline values on the nutrient value of a number of different organic materials. And there's also software called Planet Scotland. It's freely available, and it can also help you understand the nutrient value of your organic material.
I'm Donald Dunbar from SEC Consulting, and today we've been at the Castlemains Climate Change Focus Farm. We're in the field here just taking a look at some of the soils on the farm and some of the soil issues that you might commonly find. When I start to dig here, I can feel the spade going quite easily in about 2 or 3 inches, and then it just hits a barrier. So I'm just going to have a wee bit of a dig and see what that reveals. So we can see that the soil is it's wet, it's in a plastic condition lower down. The top layer, where the power harrow's gone through, it has a reasonable crumb structure breaking apart, and you can see the roots going through it. But as you go further down, you get into this much tighter layer. It doesn't really want to break apart easily, and when it does, it often is breaking horizontally in the soil, which just shows that there are layers of compaction where the soil has been squeezed down, the roots just trying to find their way through in between the layers to penetrate down. So what I've done is I've taken a spit of soil from the edge of the field where there's been no cultivation for years. Same soil type, it's just to give that comparison of the different structure. So you can see it's quite happy to start breaking apart. What is really holding this together is the root structure that's through it. But you can see the soil particles, they're a crumb structure, rounded, happy to fall apart, prized apart away from the roots. A bit further down, a little bit tighter, but again, still breaks open and then breaks down into rounded crumbs, showing good structural quality. There are a number of different publications available that give you some useful information about soils and their structure. This particular one, Valuing Your Soils, includes some other useful handouts. This helps you to do your own soil digging, get in the field with your spade, and that's where you start to learn the differences on your own ground, helping you to identify where the problems are. But what Bob's done is he told me this is a poor part of the field, and so he's used part of this field for his EFA requirement, and he's put in this cover, and the roots from the cover should help get down into the soil, open it up, and allow the moisture to be drawn out by the plants. So we have a mixture of different plant species that have been sown by Bob. You can see the Phacelia, bees absolutely love that, so Bob doing his little bit for wildlife. But we also have radish, we have vetch, and there's also some grasses in this mixture. Just going to break open this the soil surrounding this radish plant. The impressive thing about the radish is the taproot, and you can see I have actually broken off the end there and trying to get it out. But you can see that the depth of that has gone down, and the great thing about that, it's going down into that tight compacted layer and just trying to open it up a little bit and just help the structure. It's grown quite a bit of length. The Phacelia, by comparison, not the same length of taproot, although it has got down there as well. And we've also got some vetch. Vetch is a legume, although it's difficult to pick out any of the nitrogen fixing nodules on the roots here. It does have that ability to fix nitrogen and also produce this tumbling top growth as well. So this cover was sown probably sometime in April, but increasingly farmers are sowing covers after harvest time, and the purpose of that is to help trap some of the nutrients that could potentially be lost into the environment. We're principally thinking about nitrate, so the roots of the plants will get a hold of that nitrate. The nitrate's then just held in the plant over the winter, and then as they break down is released to the following crop. One of the issues though with sowing crops after harvest is that we've got a fairly short growing season here in Scotland. So sowing date is very important, but also as you move further up the country, latitude is also having an effect. And for crops, cover crops sown perhaps in the southern part of Scotland, I would say they really have to be in the ground before the middle of September. As you go further north, that time window is shortened, and they really need to be in during August. And that really has difficulties with harvest time. So cover crops, whilst they do a valuable job, are maybe not for every situation. As you get later, some of the small seeds that have been used here, they just won't get established. So you need to rely on a larger seed, something like an oat, that has more energy and is able to establish and actually do the job you're looking for.